Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
Hi everyone, Sue here from 1A Auto, and today on our 06 Honda Element, I'm going to show you how to remove and replace the rear strut assembly. If you need this part or any other part for your car, click on the link below and head on over to 1aauto.com. 19mm socket, and we're going to break free the lug nuts. You got the pressure of the vehicle on the tire still, so it doesn't turn. I used a 2-post lift. At home you can use jack and jack stands. Now I'm going to take all the lug nuts off and remove the tire. I'm going to spray the lower strut assembly bolt and nut. Try to get some of that rust off. So the access to the top of the strut assembly is in the rear part of the Honda Element. So you need to remove the rear seat, and then you have the trap door right here. It's got a little cutout for body tool, and you just reach in there and pull that plastic cover right out. Now you can see the assembly down there. So we're going to loosen up the 2 top strut mounting nuts, and those are 15mm socket. We're not going to touch the center ever on a spring-loaded assembly. That is where it compresses the spring and the strut together. There's a lot of pressure there. You need a strut tool to compress that spring to do that. You can get your hand down there. Just discard the nut. Same with this side. I'm using a 2-post lift. At home you can use jack and jack stands. Now we're going to raise the vehicle up to access the lower mount. Now we've raised our vehicle and we have access to the lower strut assembly mounting nut and bolt. So the back, the nut is a 21mm. I'm going to put that on, and the bolt is an 18mm socket. I'm going to break this free. I'm going to hit that with some spray again. As you can see, I sprayed it earlier, but I want to respray it right now. See if we can get that by hand now. Perfect. Now I'm going to take a pry bar and pry on that bolt while I ratchet that out. The key is to get it behind something to give some sort of pressure on that. So now you can see that there's pressure on that. That's why the bolt is moving up. I'll take my pry bar, see if I can get it to release some of that pressure and get that, move that out of there. So now I'm going to grab onto it and take my pry bar, see if I can pry it out of the mount on the bottom, and pull it down. Let's see if we can clear the evap canister. I know it's pretty tall, so I don't think I'm going to clear that evap canister. So I'm going to dismount the canister so I can get it to move the extra 2 inches I need of clearance. So I'm going to let down the evap canister And I'm just going to dismount the 2 mounting bolts for the bracket. There's a 10mm socket, and hope it doesn't break. And the other mounting bolt is right here. Now with the evap canister able to move out of the way, I can bring this down, slide it right past. Here we have our new rear strut assembly for our 06 Honda Element from 1aauto.com. And here is the assembly that we took out. It is an aftermarket assembly, so there's not much to compare it to other than the worn out bushings. And you can see how our company, 1A, does the bushings different. They invert it so the water can run out and cause more flex. This is a nicer one because it flexes more, so it doesn't cause a breakdown of the plastic like that, the rubber. Comes with a new seal for the top and locking nuts. If you need this part or any other part for your car, click on the link below and head on over to 1aauto.com. All right, so we're gonna slide. So the way this is mounted, you've got the 2 top mount bolts that come up and the nuts going through. Okay, so I lined up the 2 struts in the mount. They've gone through. Now I can push the bottom out into place. So we're going to tighten the top part of the strut assembly, bring it up and torque it down so that we can work better with the lower mounting, because we have a potential of this sliding out, falling out while I'm trying to drop the suspension down enough to get the bolt to start. So I'm just going to hand start these top nuts. And the locking nuts that 1A provides for the new strut mount. There's a lot of dirt in here. I'm just going to get that out of the way because I want to make it a clear mounting surface. The manufacturer does have a torque spec for this, and it is 54 foot-pounds. Snug them both, and I'll get my torque wrench ready. It's preset for 54 foot-pounds. There's one. 2. Now we can reinstall the plastic cover. That's the 2 guide tips. Put them on the top. There we go. It snaps right in. Okay, so we're going to, now with the top strut assembly mounts tightened, so I have a pry bar going through the lower control arm, and it's just resting on the differential. And now the mounting bolt hole is lined up. I just have to pry the strut out just a hair and hope it stays there. There we go. Now I can grab the bolt, pull down just a hair. Let's see if I can get this thing started. There we go. Let me get my hammer. Now I can tap that in place. Perfect. Remember not to tap the bolt all the way in because you've got to get this nut to be able to start, which I'm just barely there. So I'm going to grab through my ratchet with my 18mm socket and my 21mm wrench, and let's see if we can start this bolt and see if we can get that to start thread. Okay, I'm going to snug that down, and then I'm going to torque it to manufacturer's specs. So I've got my torque wrench, and now I'm going to torque this lower strut bolt and nut to the manufacturer's specs is 69 foot-pounds. Well, I guess I'm already there. So for remounting the evap canister, as you can see, both bolts broke out, snapped off because they're just rusted. I could try to drill those out, but I know the end result is going to be just a nightmare. So there's plenty of room for me to move this canister around and just retap some guide holes, and I can just use self-tapping screws and zing it up. And now I'm just going to do the same thing back here. Let's put the lug nuts back on. It's a 19mm socket. Just going to tighten them all down, and I can lower it down and torque it. So I'm going to torque the wheels to manufacturer's spec, which is 80 foot-pounds. And always do it in a star pattern. Double check.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.